She is the most famous woman in the world, and for 55 years she's been running the oldest family firm, the British monarchy. For more than a year, our cameras have been granted access to life beyond the palace gates and the celebrity gossip. We see the day-to-day running of the royal household, meet the family at its centre, and above all, watch the firm at work.
People love the monarchy around the world. It doesn't mean that people don't think that Britain's a modern country, but they recognise this is part of our tradition and our history and a good way of keeping the country together in a very changing world. You can sit down and talk to the Queen about the major foreign policy events of the 50s or the 60s or the 70s, 80s, 90s. She's been through it all.
For the past month, we've been this secret office in state government. We've just been referred to as the Queen's team because we weren't allowed to say that she was coming to Richmond. We weren't allowed to make too many plans.
We're actually going to use the Johnson china for the luncheon because it's the state flowers, and I thought Her Majesty would like, I know she likes flowers, so I thought she would like that.
They say the Queen is coming. Get it nice and pretty.
People are excited to have been invited to the White House to go to a state dinner with the Queen of England. It's got this kind of ring to it.
Monarchs have kept horses and carriages here since 1825, and when the car came along, they just built an extension at the back.
This is a Bentley. It's got the actual Bentley sign on the front, which comes off, and the George and Dragon would then go on. This would only be when Her Majesty's in the vehicle. This is when Her Majesty gets in. She will be uncovered, denotes England, Wales, Northern Ireland. When we are travelling and we go past school children, we slow down to about 5 miles an hour so Her Majesty can be seen and the children can wave, etc.
The job of dealing with 27,000 letters sent personally to the Queen each year is handled by her ladies-in-waiting.
Every single one will be answered. A lot of children are very kind. They ask her to her birthday parties. Quite a few people have taken to asking her to their weddings.
I remember as a child often in my room, which overlooked the Mall and the Victoria Memorial, that, you know, at night you'd hear, "We want the Queen, we want the Queen."
Nowadays, a young prince's life is very different. Nothing is spontaneous. It's 6 a.m. and Prince William and his private secretary are en route to the homeless shelter, Centrepoint, one of the 4 charities of which the prince is patron.
There is absolutely and precisely no training scheme whatsoever. So it's actually quite extraordinary that any of us have survived at all.
Just occasionally you remember with a sort of cold sweat how awful you were when you started and how crass everything you said seemed to be. So I think I rather hope that I may have improved.
And the maddening thing is, I think, is that you go through all that, trying to, you know, put people at their ease, and then you have to disappear and go on somewhere else just as they're getting at their ease and just as they're realizing that you're vaguely human.
The monarchy can't remain a fortress. You've got to keep the dignity of the job of the monarch and at the same time balance it perhaps with a little more informality.
Meanwhile, the Queen carries on. She's now the oldest monarch in British history, and by any standards, royalist or republican, she will be a formidable act to follow.